Hello, my family. Okay, so today, this is Thursday, and it has been raining off and on today. Not complaining, honestly. I need the rain for the garden. It keeps me from having to do it. So we have been baking bread this week and doing laundry and canning, and today, and not saying that this is a bad issue to have, not at all. I'm not complaining by far. I do sympathize with many people, but there is more to this video than just having the fact that I have a problem with overabundance of eggs. So, and I am not going to water glass my eggs. I'm not comfortable with that situation just yet, so I'm going to hold off on that. In the meantime, instead, I have another idea, and as I was getting ready to prepare these, I thought about sharing it with you. Many of us live a very busy lifestyle. We would love to have breakfast in the morning, but I know for a lot of people these days, it's a get up and go situation. And so there's no really time to be able to prepare a meal that you can have. But I think about the health aspects versus making your homemade than to go out to McDonald's and grab something from there or another fast food restaurant. So I am going to give you some ideas that you can do on a weekend. They are prepare ahead of time meals you can put in your freezer, take them out in the morning, heat them up, and you've got a ready to go fast food within your own home and much healthier. So I have 3 recipes that I am going to be working with. One is from Keto Focus, and I am going to link this recipe with her video in the description box below. I'm giving her credit for these. I have found that this is going to be quite amazing for my husband, as these are low carb. I do cook him breakfast every day. He does get tired of the same old. So this first one that we're going to be working with is actually a copycat version, but in a low carb way, of the Jimmy Dean's breakfast bowl. But instead of potatoes, we're going to substitute with vegetables. Thank you, Keto Focus, for this recipe, because this is going to be absolutely amazing. So, and I am not going to add the eggs into that just now. This is something I could do every morning. I could prepare the ingredients, stick them in individual bags, put them in my freezer when I need it, pull it out in the morning, scramble my eggs, and then add this mix to it, and I'm good to go. So I am going to go ahead and do that. I am going to be making a spinach frittata, or spinach feta bake, and another one will be a zucchini and kale bake. So those can also be portioned out and frozen as well. And so these are just heat and or reheat and eat meals that you can take on the go or however you want. So let's get started with this first one with the Jimmy Dean breakfast bowl. I will get you set up and I will take you through the process. Okay, so we are first going to start out with, I have sausage that we get from Aldi's that has no nitrates, and there are no sugar in this. So this ends up being a very simple yet or very safe sausage for my husband. It has no carbs, no sugar, no nothing. I read the ingredients, and it has no hidden sugars within this either. So this is our safe bet, and this is what we're going to use. I am only going to use a pound of this. So I'm going to go ahead and start by frying this up first. Adding my olive oil to my pan. And then we're going to add our sausage to this. And like I said, for the recipe on this one, I am just going to link her website, or not website, but her video to this in the description box. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this one, and she deserves the credit for this. This was amazing. Now, if you are not low carb, you're not out of this as well. Again, these are, I love this fact that these are different type of meals. In other words, versatile. You can do this low carb. You can do this not low carb. If you are going to do this regular with carbs, instead of adding all the vegetables, or you can choose to add the vegetables with it, you can add potatoes to this, and it would come out exactly just like what you're buying at the store, only without the preservatives, without all the added ingredients that you cannot pronounce, and all wholesome foods. And that is our goal, basically, in cooking anymore for us on this homestead. Now I'm going to get my chopper here. Alright, I need to find my chopper, and I shall be right back. Okay, so for right now, we're just going to fry this sausage up till we get it nice and cooked. Then we'll be taking this out and adding our vegetables in it. Now, on some of these eggs, I am going to take them, and I've seen this done. I've actually did this last year, and it worked out pretty good. Now, I don't know about using it for baking. I've never tried it that way, but I did use them for making scrambled eggs. So, I have seen where you can freeze them in egg muffin, or in muffin tins, pre-freeze them, and then you could stick them in a gallon bag. You can scramble them and then stick them in freezer bags and freeze them and use them as you want to go for like breakfast burritos or whatever, things like this. These are how I am going to fix my egg overruns, considering, believe it or not, we do have a hard time selling our eggs. Nobody wants farm fresh eggs. They'd rather have the store-bought. I don't know why, but that's just the way they are. I have had some literally tell me they don't want farm fresh. They'd rather have the store-bought, and they just have issues with it. Now, I'm assuming they don't understand that, honestly, these eggs, they have hormones in it from the store, which we would rather avoid, just like the chicken. Also, and we don't always get to avoid that from the store with these chickens, but if you get organic, you have a better chance. And then the eggs, they're actually cleaned with chemicals. And although farm fresh eggs are not, they still come out healthier than store-bought. But regardless, I'm going to do what I have to, and I will take care of us. And then this winter, just like I did. Now, I ended up buying a dozen or two eggs over the winter. So that was crazy. So I am actually going to freeze some this year in our storage so that this winter I have eggs for my husband's breakfast and for us on the weekends. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and once I get this finished, I will come back and show you what our next steps are. Okay, so our sausage is now done. Now I am going to take this and strain the fat out of here. That will be totally up to you. I am trying to watch somewhat of our cholesterol levels, so yeah, that did not hold very well. Oh, come on. Let me get a different bowl because this one seems to be too big for the strainer. Okay, so now I got one. Oh, and by the way, ingenious way, if your strainer doesn't fit, use a hair clip on the edge of it, hold it on with the handle, it works. That's exactly what I'm doing, so it's not in my food. But it is going to hold this cotton picking thing up so it doesn't keep falling out on me. Alright, so we have our sausage done, and we don't want to overcook it, so we put that over here. Put our pan back up here. Again with some olive oil. I have 2 cloves of garlic that's minced. I'm going to add to this. I am using these mini peppers. So I've got approximately 5 colored variety of these mini peppers and about a half a cup of diced onions or chopped onions. So, and I'm just going to saute this in, get these tender enough. That's a pretty colorful dish too. Now she used these to store with mason jars. I'm not going to use that. First of all, I don't have enough room in my freezer. I don't have the type that you can actually safely put in your freezer. You can tend to bust your jars very easily if you don't have the freezer type mason jars. So I'm just going to use the 1 quart sandwich bags type thing and use those for my freezer containers. So I'm going to let this saute until these are tender, and we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so now we've got our vegetables nice and tender. We're going to add a little bit of salt. I'm using Himalayan sea salt. Use some cracked black pepper. Hubby likes a lot of pepper. And we're going to use about a half a teaspoon of onion powder in this. And now we're going to go ahead and add our sausage back to this mix. And now we're going to turn it off and let this cool. Once this cools, I will show you the next step that we are going to do. Okay, so we still have 2 more breakfast ideas. One of them is going to be using zucchini. So in the meantime, I need to actually shred up a cup of the zucchini. So I'm going to shred it, and I'm going to let it strain. We're going to salt it and get all the moisture out of it, because we're going to be baking and we don't want all that liquid in it. So I'm going to shred this up, get us about a cup of this. And then I'm going to set it aside while it drains. It's about a cup right there. And actually, I'm going to be doing 2 cups of this because I don't have the broccoli that's going in it. So this is going to be complete zucchini. So I'm going to double this one and take the place of the broccoli and make it straight zucchini bake. So we have our zucchini shredded up now. Now I'm going to sprinkle this with salt so that I can help drain out that liquid and draw it out. And then we're going to set this aside. Just like so. Mix it up real good. In the meantime, I've got my oven preheated at 375 degrees. So, now I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to start with our next breakfast meal. So, we will be right back. Okay, on this next one, so I had made a mistake. The other one that I did with the zucchini is going to be mixed with kale, and it's okay. So, I've also got this one. Now, this is the one that's mixed with broccoli. I am eliminating the broccoli, and I'm using complete spinach. Now, you can use 1 to 1.5 cups of fresh spinach. I don't have that. I had frozen, so I used one package. I think it's about 12 ounces. I'll double check that in a minute. But I took one package of frozen spinach, drained it, squeezed out all the liquids, and that's what I'm going to add. I'm also going to add, instead of broccoli, I'm going to add some onion to mine. Now, this one's basically, for me, more of a Mediterranean breakfast, and the only reason for it is because hubby is not fond of feta cheese. So, but if you are not also fond of it, you could add basically any type of cheese you want to this. I am just making me something for breakfast and making it quick and simple, just like I am for his, because of all the things that I do around here. Having quick and simple would be easy for me, and even though I do homemade, it's still nice to have convenience, but with whole foods. I am looking more into healthier options for everyone, and quick and easy methods that you can spend a weekend preparing for yourselves. Your weeks are simple, just pop and reheat and go, and then still yet have wholesome meals without having to worry about the expense of going out and having fast food. So we have about 1 small onion chopped. I am now going to add my spinach in here. And I will go ahead and write the recipe to this in the description. Alright, so we have our spinach, we have our onions. I am going to be using 6 eggs, as this is going to be a bake. I'm going to be cautious so I don't get shells in my dish. And this is a good way for any other homesteader who does what I do. If you need a way to take care of your eggs, this is an awesome way to do it. So there's my 6 eggs that we need. We need 1/4 cup of milk, and I am going to be using unsweetened almond milk. I need some salt, and I'm going to add some pepper to this. Okay, so now I'm going to get this aside, set up our dish, our baking dish, and we're going to go from here. Okay, so we're going to mix up our ingredients really well. Now with this dish, you can do one or two things. You can leave it as a casserole. You can pretty much add, at this point, anything else you'd like to add to this. The basic idea for this one that was being made was to use this as a breakfast sandwich. So, once it was baked, pretty much, you can take a cookie cutter and then press out your sandwiches, put it in whole wheat English muffins, and then have it for breakfast. Or, you can leave it as a bake, and then cut it in squares and have it for breakfast. Either way you'd like to do. This is a multi-purpose. You can add what you want to this recipe and make it your own. So now at this point I'm going to spray my pan. I'm going to add my spinach mix to this and evenly spread it out. And then as we went to Aldi's, I absolutely love Aldi's choices, especially in the dairy section. Now, I am a feta fan. I absolutely love feta, and that's one reason why I wanted to do this recipe for me. But I am actually going to be using a different type of feta cheese than the ordinary one in brine. I happened to find one that was tomato and basil, and I had tasted this, and this would be amazing to add to this dish. So I am going to crumble about a half a cup of feta cheese on top of this bake. And again, this is going to be, you can either put it in the refrigerator or preferably freeze it if you want to last it longer. But these are prepared meals to make it so much easier for you during the week, on a go, or for whatever reason that you have. So now we have this. We're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to bake this at 375 degrees for 20-25 minutes, or until the center comes out clean, used with a toothpick. So we're going to get this one in the oven, and we're going to start our next one. Okay, so now that our mix on our first batch, our Jimmy Dean mix, is finished, it is cooled off, I'm going to show you two ways you can do this. Now, hubby has work tomorrow morning, so this will be his breakfast in the morning. I will go ahead and put this one in a jar to show you that if this is the method you wanted to in your refrigerator instead of freezing it, this is what you can do. Do it about halfway. Add a little bit of cheddar cheese to your jar. And then seal this up. Now when you go to use this, first thing in the morning, take 1 or 2 eggs, mix it in here, scramble it up really good, and you can put it in your microwave and cook it just like this and have a meal in a jar. Or you can take it out in a small pan, scramble your eggs, and then add this mix, heat it all up, and then you still got breakfast. So that is one way of doing this, and that one will go in the fridge. To be able to do it for freezer, like I said, I prefer not to use jars. I'm going to use a bag, and I will get, it looks like maybe 3 meals out of this. Yeah. Now I get about 4 meals out of this, so put my cheese in here. Seal it up, roll out the air, and I love the fact that these are quick, easy, throw together. And on this, honestly, if you wanted to, you could just do a complete reheat and eat. by just scrambling up some eggs, mixing that in with this mix, and then just heat it up the next morning, and it's completely done for you. You don't even have to worry about it no more. So, I mean, there's actually 3 ways of being able to do this. And I think these are like 2.5 net carbs per breakfast meal. So this is awesome, y'all. Okay, I think there's not much in here, so I'm just going to divide this up. But you basically get the idea. So the 3 ways. 1, in a jar, you can put it in the refrigerator. 2, you can just put them in the freezer like this, have them ready in your morning, scramble your eggs or mix it together, or go ahead and scramble your eggs, put the whole mix together, put it in your freezer, take them out, reheat it in the next morning, and you've got breakfast any way you want it. So this is one meal already set and done. This one was the one by Keto Focus. I appreciate her method, and I have a feeling this is going to go over very well. Meantime, we're going to work on the next breakfast ideas. All right, y'all. So our first bake that we did just came out of the oven. It looks amazing. It smells really good. And then we're going to let that one cool off at the same temperature. We're going to work with this one. So now this one calls for, this is a zucchini kale egg bake. Another low carb breakfast meal. So this one has a cup of zucchini. Now, once this one was strained and everything, this came out to be the 1 cup that we need. So 1 zucchini was enough to do that. Our next ingredient we're going to need, now I purchased this kale. You can use fresh kale, but you need 1 cup of chopped kale. So we're going to add 1 cup of this to our mix. And if I don't get it everywhere, break this down to smaller pieces. That way it's not so hard when it comes to baking it too. Some of these pieces can be a little bit bigger than anticipated, so you know, I never thought of this stuff last year, I guess, until our lifestyle changed. And to know that there was many different varieties of breakfast meals like this, and I'm liking the fact of learning how to plan ahead, making things easier for me, considering all the work that I do each and every day. The least that I have for strenuous, because this is something I will not step away from. It will be homemade. But if I can make it easy on me, I will do this. So, and it's still homemade. I'm just spreading it out. And besides that, hubby, God love that man. Sometimes I get in a rut, and he gets the same thing over and over. So he's going to welcome having these new ideas as well. So there's 1 cup of chopped kale. We need 6 eggs. This will finish off that 1 dozen, although I still have several more, but I will be freezing them. So we have, again, 6 eggs, and I'm going to use my bowl again. and 6. I have a new container to add some more in. And believe me, I have more. So now we're going to mix this in here with a 1/2 cup of milk. Again, I am using almond milk. Unsweetened almond milk. And that with our 6 eggs. Now we need, let's see here, chopped onions. I am losing my place, y'all. Okay, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of chopped onions to this for flavor. I am literally losing my place here, y'all. So this is optional. This is not part of the recipe. This is what I'm going to do because sometimes I add a little bit more flavor to things. So I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of diced purple onion. And there's our onion. Going to add a 1/2 cup of almond flour. A 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Again, yes, this will be in the description for you all as well. A 1/2 teaspoon of basil and oregano. And a 1/2 teaspoon of dill. Yes, and the onion, there was it in the recipe. I just didn't see it at first, y'all. So, forgive me, but finely diced 1 small onion. And you can make the onion of your choice. I'm just using the purple because I happen to have them on hand and I like the color. To me, adding brightness with different colors in food just kind of cheers it up a little bit. I finish this. And then we're going to mix this up really good. Set up in a 9-inch baking square pan that's going to be coated, and again in a 375-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean from this one. So just a little bit more, and then we're done with this. Then we're going to mix it up really good. Alright, so that's that. Now we're going to add some shredded cheese to this as well, about a cup's worth of any type that you want. I'm using Monterey Jack. So And now we're going to mix this up really well. And this can be served on the side with some toast to make it a Mediterranean. You could mix it with some hummus if you wanted to. If you are low carb, just mix this on the, cut you out a square of it. Have it with some low carb toast. Any way you prefer, or you can basically turn this again into a breakfast sandwich. So now that we get this mixed up, we're going to get our baking dish, lightly grease it, and we shall be right back. Alright, so we have our breakfast pan. I'm going to add all this into your pan, spread it out evenly. And now we're going to bake this for about 30 to 35 minutes. I'm going to set my alarm for 30 minutes. And we will put this in the oven now. I'll scoot you back here just a little bit. That way you can see this. Just put this in our oven. Hit our timer. And we will be back when this is finished. Okay, so our first bake, this was the spinach feta. And I used the tomato basil feta. This has been tantalizing me, and I've been wanting to try it, so I'm fixing to try it and see. Like I said, this one is my breakfast in the morning, and so we're going to see how this turns out and see if this is something I would look forward to doing again in the future or not. So, just going to give this a try. Lord, y'all. Hold on a minute. Okay, that was absolutely amazing. It has got, for an egg dish, it has got flavors popping everywhere. It's between the feta, which I happen to like because it's lower in cholesterol, and you know me, I'm into Mediterranean right now, so this is absolutely perfect. Between that pop of the feta and the spinach and the eggs and the seasonings, onions, it's got flavors all over the place. I have never tasted a breakfast that tastes so good. And I could see me making this with homemade labneh and lavish bread on the side with this, or I could take mix this with my sourdough bread in the morning with hummus or labneh on top, and then put this on there. There's so many different Mediterranean ways for this dish. I would definitely, absolutely do this dish again. In the meantime, we still got 8 minutes on our other bake, so I had to prepare supper, so I'm fixing to do that as well. Now, I had leg quarters. I have 4 thighs, which I am going to turn those thighs into chicken shawarma. I will be dividing that up to different meals, freezing the leftovers on it, and then having some for dinner tonight, along with making my husband some rotisserie, no sugar seasoning chicken legs that he could take for lunch in the at work. So these would be 2 prepared meals for him to have for lunch. So I'm just going to coat these up really good. And I'm going to actually pop these in the oven with the bacon there while the oven is already hot. I lined the inside of my pan with olive oil. Coat my chicken really good. Did that nice seasoning to it. And then that's it. It's just as simple as that. Just a nice flavoring rotisserie flavor that he can have for lunch. I'm just looking at different ways to utilize our food, to stretch it, and to be able to have fresh and keep from having to go out to eat or anything like that anymore. Healthier ways. And honestly, with the price of groceries, it's hard. So with the two of us, I try to utilize every area that I can to be able to accommodate our needs. So, and that's it. And I just pop that in the oven and we're good to go. So we're going to get that in the oven and get this cooked while I'm waiting for my chicken thighs to dehydrate, or not dehydrate, to defrost, and we'll get that ready for the shawarmas. And there we have it, y'all. 3 different ways of preparing some egg breakfast. If you are like me, a homesteader who gets in a rut on what to do with your eggs, or if you're anybody who's got an everyday busy lifestyle and you'd like to be able to come up with something that is wholesome for you, healthy, and on the go. So here we have it. I mean, we've got the Jimmy Dean's breakfast bowl. We have the spinach feta bake, and we also have a kale and zucchini bake. All low carb, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will have plenty more ideas to come along as we are in the season for this, and as I learn how to prepare more meals where I can stretch further, also be able to freeze meals for simpler things. If I have a busy day like I've had all week and I don't feel like cooking, I could just go in the freezer, get a meal, pop it in, and everything is good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed spending time in the kitchen with you. Until next time, much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.